Mercury in Taurus is a very interesting, mild placement. Let's explore it by way of checking out the harmonies and dissonances between the planet and the sign. Our first item of interest, really at the core of the vibe between Mercury and Taurus, is the fact that Taurus is an arts sign, and therefore it has to do with learning. And Mercury is the planet of intellect, and therefore it also has to do with learning. So you have the planet of intellect in the sign of arts and learning. So what do you expect from that? Well, here's a few suggestions. The person with Moon in Taurus is probably intelligent. And the specific flavor of intelligence that we're talking about is a patient way of thinking. The way of thinking affects the way of speaking. So since these natives have a patient, kind of detached or observant way of thinking, they also have a patient, detached, observant way of speaking. And the speech of and the voice of a native who has Moon in Taurus is also quite interesting for several reasons, because it also achieves a type of a beauty. Look at the fact that the type of learning that Taurus is really well suited towards is arts. So the type of intelligence that Mercury in Taurus represents is not only patient intelligence, but also one that's artistically literate. So here's a person who has a sense of poetry. Here's a person who has a sense of words. They easily could have a sense of other forms of communication, other languages, including especially music. And so their speech is pretty nice to listen to, or they produce good words. They may be good singers. They may be good musicians. That, I believe, is really at the core of what is vibing between Mercury and Taurus. But let's look at the next layer. The next resonance of interest, the next item of interest, is the fact that Taurus is a cooperative sign and Mercury is a cooperative planet. Mercury is a relationship-oriented planet because it's the planet of intellect, and intellect is all about relating one thing to another, finding a pattern and matching it with a meaning. Mercury is the planet of relationships. Taurus is all about femininity, which is about relationship, love, partnership, cooperation, unity. So what do you expect from a native of Mercury and Taurus? Well, they're probably pretty relatable, aka likable. Just like they're artistically literate, they're also relationship literate, and that's why they're likable. They have some kind of intuition or sensitivity to how other people think and how other people speak and how other people understand things, and therefore they can relate, and you can relate to them. Because Taurus is also a bit on the practical side, another factor here is that Mercury Taurus natives like cooperation, so they like or need to be in teams or partnerships. Now, this is very nice that Mercury is about relationships and Taurus is about love and cooperation and relationships, but there's also a dissonance on practically the very same topic. And so let me now bring to your attention the next item. The next item for our attention is that Mercury is a planet of balance and non-partisanship or neutrality. Taurus, however, is a sign of loyalty and commitment. So, although Mercury and Taurus harmonize on the concept of relationships, they clash on the topic of commitment. So considering all this, what then to expect from a Mercury-Taurus native? Well, they are likable, they're relationship literate, yet they're very slow to form relationships or teams. And they're very slow to change their relationships or teams. They have difficulty adapting their relationships to new situations. They have difficulty keeping relationships long term. This also has to do with the other kind of relationship thing, which is how the intellect works. they're good at, they're intelligent, they're good at grasping patterns, but it's a patient kind of intelligence. Why is it a patient kind of intelligence? Because they're a bit slow in committing to that pattern. They're slow in committing to that comprehension of that pattern. They're slow in committing to what it means or what it doesn't mean. So they have a good intelligence, but it doesn't function at a quick rate. It's a slow, steady intelligence. And the last simple item that I would like to bring to your attention is that Mercury is a planet of symmetry and therefore beauty. And Taurus is a sign of health and wealth and therefore beauty. So we have a nice harmony between the planet representing beauty and the sign representing beauty. So what do you expect from a native of Mercury and Taurus? You expect beauty. What particular flavor of beauty? Kind of well organized, kind of clean looking, kind of clear looking, well defined features, well groomed or well presented. Now what we do in these videos with the planets and the signs is I show you a consistent technique that you can use for any planet and any sign. And the technique is very simple. You look for where the planet symbolizes something that's very, very similar to what the sign symbolizes. And once you find that, you assess whether or not the planet and the sign are harmonious about that thing or whether they're antithetical about that thing. The dissonant resonance reveals what's complex or difficult for the native. The harmonious resonance, on the other hand, indicates what's easy, what comes natural, what's an inherent strength for the native. What I'm teaching you really is the method of how to do astrological interpretation by going down into the engine of the symbolism and comparing the parts. The actual interpretation that you should give is going to be individualized per the individual chart. So if you have person A with the moon in Scorpio and person B with the moon in Scorpio, it's not going to be exactly the same interpretation. Because person B's moon might have an aspect from something and person A's moon doesn't, etc., 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 etc. But what I'm showing you in the videos is the backbone of what a planet and a sign symbolizes. And once you understand that backbone, you modify it based on the circumstances, the extraneous circumstances that are affecting an individual chart. So I hope you really like this system, not just this one video, but all the videos that we do on the planets and the signs. We'll do them all. And I hope you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of those. And I hope to see you around soon. Thank you.